Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Any part where this broadcast meets you at the world. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I hope we will get a very good time interacting with each other. Today, na December 11th, 2022. So please, as usual, we'll get starting guidelines for be able for no say this program is conducted the way we want to. We're basically based on mutual respect for the caller as well as for the host and for the guests. So we hope we will keep the degree of decorum we want or civility in the exchange of ideas. So today, of course, before I get today, we will get a guest who is a trained medical doctor, psychiatrist, and someone who specializes in surgery, in neuroscience. And neuroscience, the doctor will explain. I don't go bother for getting to that. Again, for neuro, I think, for deal with the brains. So he will tell we about what the purpose for this word and this today's broadcast. But the main topic what this doctor will be talking, will go to talk to me about today now concerning the frequent or common usage of drugs, illegal drugs in Sierra Leone, particularly the drugs called Kush, what we see where they get effect on people then. And we'll go play at least one, maybe more, of some videos then, one of which even the BBC broadcast some time ago about how Kush they affect people in Sierra Leone here. So the doctor will explain to us scientifically how this they affect to brains, how the effect way it gets on the community, and how it disable people therefore perform at the best. Let me put it another way there. So now, usually we always get some numbers. We always try to let people know what for call. And so we get series of numbers. We get the WhatsApp number. We get the UK, Australia number. We get the toll-free number. So let me just go over the numbers in there. So when I would listen, we want for join, we want for call, we want for make comments, we want for be heard. Here are some of the numbers. We'll get a toll-free number, winner 866-944-7722. 866-944-7722. If you call from the UK, the number will be plus 44 20 80 89 1455. Plus 44 20 80 89 1455. If you call from Australia, now plus 61 29 09 84 337. Repeat, plus 61 29 09 84 337. And of course, the WhatsApp number for reach, if now WhatsApp you use, now 1-343 997 5828. 1-343 997 5828. So these are some of the numbers then we want to give a call. In addition to that, we're there on Facebook, we're there on Instagram, we're there on YouTube. So you can find this broadcast. If not now, then media the day when I mentioned just now, then they record them so you can even watch the show later at some later points. YouTube, Facebook, the one a day. So we're the main topic today, in fact, the main and perhaps the only topic we'll be dealing with for make sure say people and taking what in the esteemed doctor they can talk to me about now about this common use of illegal drugs, namely not all kinds of illegal drugs, but Kush in particular, we now that one for address. So with that said, I want to introduce you now to we esteemed doctor, we the co-host with me today as well as our guest. They'll provide invaluable, precious time for calm and help for address the issue both socially in terms of the adverse effect we Kush gets on the people and how it affect the brains. So with that said, I go ask Dr. Um, Labor, Dr. Alan Dudley Labor, we go introduce himself to we and tell we all he want we for know about himself, what he does. In brief, I can tell you I say his specialty in psychiatry and neurology, but he go explain that to you better. So with that said, Dr. Labor, welcome to the show, and please introduce yourself and take it
Good,
from there.
good afternoon, Sierra Leoneans. Mina Dr. Labor. I'm based in Ade, America. After done medical school, medical college, like 20 years ago, I do a housemanship in London, England. So housemanship now when a doctor we don't finish college, go train under the senior doctor them. After I done that, I come America. When I come America, I continue my training. I did my training in internal medicine. So internal medicine, I study and diagnosis and treatment of different parts of the body. Then I also went and did psychiatry when treatment and diagnosis and treatment of mental problems with people in the face. I did with my focus on addiction as well. So I got, a lot of years training in internal medicine, psychiatry, addiction training. I also do research for a few years. I did clinical research in the brain. I work with scientists them and doctors and patients them for study different sicknesses in the brain. Okay, and what they cause them and how we forget medication them for help the patient them. So that research took me a few years, and then I went into clinical medical practice. So that's all for now.
Okay, Dr. Labor, before you get started, let me just ask you a quick question. Housemanship, as it is called in England, is it the same as residency, or can you just distinguish for we with the America?
Well, housemanship is not residency. It's not time where you the housemanship is not training time where you train and get different experiences in different areas of medical discipline areas them. So you
Okay,
go from one department, you go work with doctor the way they specialize, where they work on kidney, you go work on doctor then at the heart, you go work with belle woman them and for born picking, you get different experience. So then now when you don't pick what you want for learn more, you go what they call residency. So America call a residency. We depend
all right,
4 or 5 years, sometimes 6 if you're a surgeon for train per one particular area.
okay. And that said, also, you are listed as an adjunct professor of clinical um, neurology. So, can you just tell with Usai you to teach just by way of just giving you more exposure and giving with people them more information. So, if they want to reach you in particular, they will know Usai for reach you.
Well, I teach now at university. I teach medical students and undergraduates, the discipline of neuroscience, when at the brain, because the brain is very complex, as we know. So that is what I do. I teach as well as I practice medicine, psychiatry.
Okay, all right. So we welcome you again to the show, sir. And we
Thank
are
you.
very happy to get you on board because we need people of you caliber, people of the uh, specialization for be able for help we for explain to people and back home. We're not all the ordinary person alone at the street, but even with policy makers them. We want for letting hear it from people like Kuna. And also for me, they know say we get very well worthy Sierra Leoneans abroad. Like Una, we willing for help and share una specialty with the country and the rest of the world if only they can reach out. So we are so happy to have you.
Thank
Now,
you.
Going to the main subject, when are the uh, issue we want to talk about today. Say we get this uh, very late but recent development in terms of people being strung out on drugs, illegal drugs on the street, and we'll find out for say mostly at the moment it's not cocaine, it's not marijuana as such, but there's a illegal drug on the street referred to or generally referred to as Kush. And we understand, say, Kush can be made from different substances. So we just want to let you explain to we the Kush as you know it, the scientific effect, and the effect on the human body, and as much as you want to wait for know. So if you don't mind, we're not going to limit you to any area to start with. Just you can start wherever you want to start, sir.
Okay, well, I for say the Kush itself. Okay, so all drug different, right? The Kush itself, from what I understand, is what they call synthetic cannabinoid. Cannabinoid is what we call jamba, marijuana back home. So this is not the natural jamba where they grow. It is synthetic, meaning people and they make them. People are manufacturing it in a lab them, in the backyard, in the house, and then they sell it out. Couple of years ago, it been take a hold in America, yeah, also we did. Then we call it K2. So I have a feeling say it is the same thing or sometimes something similar because drugs people mix and match drugs, people put things and take things out, and people they see them and plan and make these things. People they live on making drugs for people them, unfortunately. So the effect on Kush from what I see, of course, I'm not this alone, but from what I understand, it's an effect. It gives the effect of what in marijuana, cannabis they give to the body. People take them for make them get high, make them feel good, make them feel what we call euphoria, make them feel calm, and people take them for make them feel better. People take them for make them join the club and be among them, party them, and feel good and feel part of the group. And unfortunately, it affects not only the person, but it affects the brain, how the brain they function, and that can cause them problems. So it's not only not to Kush no more. In fact, Kush is just one of the many. Um, Salone gets a problem with alcoholism. That's one we know. That's a problem which we know. Now, as we all know, we all drink alcohol, but then some people do it more than others. Some people get addicted, to alcohol. So the same thing. For example, on the screen now, you see a pint of beer. In America, yeah, woman not for drink past one beer for day. Man not for drink past two beer for day. When you begin drink past now one day, then you become, you get a problem. And that problem, they lead to addiction. Okay, so now in terms of Kush, coming back to Kush, I think we get an image of Kush where the technical producer go put for you on the screen, please. Yes. So this now waiting Kush look like, this now waiting Jamba look like cannabinoid. I understand again say there is a mixture of other things than pan this Jamba, this Kush. Now looking at videos and social media clips on Kush, from my experience, I want to say I want to say not only jam, but I get also what they call stimulants. So stimulants now like a cocaine, like a methamphetamine, not a scientific name them, where it look like they don't put inside this jamba. Okay. So it look like a for saying that that's nine the effect what you see on videos, it look like a for saying a double two problem, the Cushing problem and the stimulanting problem. Now, usually when you take Kush, when people then they take Kush, they're not a Hamburg. People then they take Kush, they feel high, then go home, then sleep. But then some people they take them and they begin for take them and they begin for take them. So that's the problem. And there's a time when they cause problems. They call it intoxication, which means you don't pass smack on your body. Okay, your body they react to them. So The one of the signs, then the person will take Kush, in mood dey elevate, the know side dey, in perception altered, they able for tell time, and know side dey, loss, it can be drowsy, sleepy, it can be agitated, it can be psychotic. Psychotic meaning it can increase. He dey talk to himself, he dey talk nonsense, they talk something thing we right. So that's not the problem with K2. And eventually after years, or because it all depends. Some people after months of taking it regularly, you become addicted, then it affects your brain. So that is the problem with Kush. It affects your brain, it affects your function, it affects your driving distance, your ability for tell time and space and drive, and so that is all the problem. That's all the reason why we talk about this, for being awareness. On the image on the right, you see the healthy brain, person wey no dey use Kush. Then we look at the brain where the person they use Kush. So if una can see, the one way to me right hand, now the patient way, you see where the brain like a mush mush, is lost enough full up like the one within the left hand.
Now, can I
So
interrupt you one? Can I interrupt you 1 second?
yes,
From your right, I think to we way the viewer may go be to we left.
okay,
Yeah, just
yes,
for so they know
yes,
look at the wrong one.
yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
to your right, sorry, to your left is the
hmm
healthy brain and the addicted
yeah,
brain. Okay.
correct.
So you can see
Yeah.
the size. One bigger than the other one. So now, so when you don't take the Kush, or generally when you take drugs in general, so you bring the time. That's a good toilet. Now, Mr. Shilon, do you want me to go into the addiction per se, or you want to ask me questions one by one, because I can
Well,
dwell into it now or later.
it will not be questions but one by one, but let me
Okay.
just ask you because in the earlier picture, I see something like a powder. Am I
Okay.
right to assume that powder then cocaine, or what does it
Yes.
symbolize?
So that is cocaine, and the reason why I put this here, because recently I heard that one ship, they intercept a shipload of cocaine. I not can remember the amount of tons or the grams where they
On the
off the
show,
shores of Sierra
yeah,
Leone.
yeah.
And it was intercepted by either Europol or Interpol, the international police. So, I don't want to go into politics, but it is sad,
Yes.
say, Salone don't come to this situation with all the problem that we get. And we get them boku, we get for deal with drugs, because go born good picking anyway. So that is the cocaine, and these are the main drugs. These are the pictures we have put up of the main thing that we understand CD Salone.
All right. In that respect, uh, is it fair to say that the cannabis, the gamba oil or the gamba itself, mixed with different substances that produce different effect? For example, if you mix gamba or Kush with cocaine, the effect will be different from if you mix it with alcohol. Am I right to assume that
Yes. So every substance getting different symptoms,
effect?
them
Okay.
effect on the body, really show as
Yeah.
symptoms. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't mind now, just make we know. Uh, let me see how which part of the body, because I know say what you just said just now. You talk about the use of um, any drugs, uh, even in legal drugs, prescribed drugs, then get some degree of effect on the human mind, and at times some degree of effect on the body itself.
Yes.
So, but like cocaine now, or like Kush, there is what you would call appreciable impairment of of the of your mental and physical faculties, I assume. So, can
Yes.
you just take it from there, sir, until we just give it as broad as you can the degree of impairment, and even alcohol. When you drink alcohol, you do get a mental and physical impairment. So let we know in relation to that. Oh, before I go to that, I want to also ask, because you mentioned um, uh, alcoholism. or the
Yes.
usage of alcohol. Okay.
Yes.
Now, do you know whether now we in society will recognize at all the disease of, is it a recognized disease in Sierra Leone, alcoholism per se? Do you know at all if it is recognized as a disease or as an illness?
Well, Mr. Shillon, I don't left Salone 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I'm not there for tell you waiting they go in a salon now. But what I they
Okay.
tell you back in the 70s and 80s when me been in the salon, alcoholism not been treated, they not been treated like a disease.
Disease.
Neither
Okay.
government, nor the individual, nor society. It was not be like na do on command, oh they drink too much, oh they drink for make you feel good. It was not appreciated as a disease, as an illness. Hope maybe
But now,
things don't change, but I mean, 30 years ago when I was there growing up, it not been categorized as an illness, and I'm sure say much not don't change because the mental institution as alone, health institution as alone, not make much improvement. They are trying now, as I understand, but not much.
okay. But as far as you know, alcoholism or excessive use of alcohol or certain amounts of use of alcohol is regarded in this part of the world and the Western world as a disease that calls for treatment. Correct,
Yes,
sir? Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay. So what I go like for make you share with for some of the combination of Kush and the different um, added substances within the put the Kush. So tell we as best as you can how it affect we like you just show with the brain just now. So let us see how sometimes uh, the effects can be extreme, even to the point of death, and sometimes to the point of appreciable impairment where you lost total control of the functions of your brain as well as your physical functions. So you can just tell with the degree of effect that then this illegal drug, this kush, they get on with.
Well, the effect is more mental. When you talk of Kush, it's more of a mental effect. They compare the Kush to K2, where me deal with in America here a couple of years ago. Um, it's what they call again synthetic cannabinoid. People then they
Okay.
use what we call potpourri. I don't know if it is alone, but potpourri na like a like a flower, artificial leaves where they put fragrance pan and put perfume param. So people then they use that. People again use synthetic marijuana where then they make in a lab, and then people they smoke them or they sniff them. So when they do that, and these are young people for the most part. Now young people and they do that. When they do it they affect the mental capacity. In what way? Number one, like I don't say, they make them anxious, they make them euphoric, they make them feel high, they make them elevate, the mood go up. Okay, they make they lose perception, which means they're not able calculate distance. They're not they lost time, the sense of time. They lost, outside and in a space. So, and of course, then the worst case scenario is then they become psychotic. What's in a psychotic? Psychotic now what we call craze. And their behavior, they absolutely change. They're not the delusional, which means they're not the understand, they're not the in the right mind, they're in their own set world, nothing where we they do, natural, as we will not they take them, they're not they look at that, they're not they say, in fact, they're in their own world, then they then they function in their own psychotic states. And that can be a problem because then when they're in their psychotic states, they are not thinking right, then they do think that we're not right. And when they do things all right, it's harmful to not only themselves, but to the people over there around them. For example, if you take Kush, K2, you go drive, you're not going able to associate the distance between you and the motor car already before you. So when you don't lost that sense that you're not able to gauge which time for mass the brake, what's in the happen? You don't go bang the person. Or person they cross the street. Your sense don't change. You don't alter your sense. Okay, what's in your sense? You sense that your visual, your hearing, your perception, the way you do assess space and time, they don't change. So you go bang person. So that's not the problem. Then on top of that, when you psychotic again, you know they think right, you are agitated, you know they think right, you go touch person want fetch you or person want beat you, now problem and for you. Then you put yourself in harm's way. So that is the main problem with this Kush. Of course, where you don't reach a time where you they take them too much, you're not able to do nothing again because now all you mentality, all you thinking, and I forgot take more Kush or feel high. Okay, so this is the problem with Kush, and this is the same problem with other drugs as well. But in terms of like a physical na your body, Kush not get much of like a major physical like alcohol and methamphetamine and cocaine and other stimulants and other drugs.
Okay, but of late, we don't see video them where people are strung out, not the steering wheels, asleep, or people they try for ride a motorbike, but they're not getting balance, or where people they try for even get up to just stand, or some
Mhm.
people are standing up sleeping. Um, so are these all actual effects or of Kush per se, or uh, because that would be, some of that would be uh, effect on the physical part of your body, not so besides the
Yeah, that's
mental
it.
part.
Exactly. Yeah. So like I
All
was
right.
saying, your perception they altered. You know they perceive the things right. Okay, so you go sit down on motorcar, you the drive. When you don't take the Kush, you dey under the substance, you are altered. You sit down on motorcar, you dey sleep. It don't affect your senses, right? You're not sharp no more. At the same time, some other people then they were sharp. Some people then they were elevated, their mood elevated. So it all depends on how much you take and your system as well and your metabolism. Because the systems and the symptom them, the way they affect people, them then they different. Okay, yes. So man will go sit down a motor car, you not go able drive, you go slow because in perception slow, you not able. You remember say the perception, your mind, they tell you body and your nerves are for work. So your perception slow, you and they move slow. You go work as slow because your perception, I don't know what in the Creole word for perception, but you sense, in other words, your ability for gauge, your senses, you know the work. Yeah.
Uh, so when you say some people then can become, I think you use the regular word crazy. Uh,
Mhm.
where they can become psychotic. Where I
Yes.
think you say that means they can increase.
Yes.
So do we understand such an effect on the body or the mind or the brain? Is it reversible or is it a permanent damage? When you reach a point and become psychotic, um, what sort of effect does it have on the mind itself? Are some of these things reversible, and if they are, how are they reversible? Is it just by regular hospitalization or psychiatric hospitalization, or do you have to be a leave a permanent dependency on drugs for keep you alert because you don't get permanent damage to your brains. So you can explain that to Wisa when you
Yeah.
become psychotic at the
Yeah.
situation.
So the again, we as doctors, then we the treat them patients they are. When we see patients where they under Kush or K2 or this marijuana, synthetic marijuana, we always they see the high or the perception problem, the mood problem or the anxiety. Now when we see the psychosis, we become more alert, we become more worried because with me experience, it is treatable. It's treatable. When a patient here becomes psychotic or then begin act crazy, we dey take them go to the hospital, we admit them, even without them, then agree, we dey force them, we admit them, we treat them. There are medications to give. Okay, then we give them what they call intensive therapy. But that's not for person. We're going to talk to them about their drugs and how to live their life and everything. So we get for combine that and then they. But yes, the psychosis decrease, it's treatable. But again, studies don't show say some people them can get this decrease for permanently for quite some time. It all depends on again your metabolism, how much you smoke, And if you may not get underlying, some people may not get underlying problem. A lot of them now people that will get mental problem, and then they take these drugs, especially Kush or drinking, as a way of feeling better about themselves, as a way of getting into society, make society accept them. Because who that one dey near drunken man? Who that one get drunken man padi near am? When all time is problem, he want drink, he no get money, life broken and everything. So as a means of getting into society and make them go feel involved and feel belong, then now they can take drugs. A lot of times people they were poor, the poor, and they make it affect. Although the drug use not gets not the peak, but for the most part. Now the good thing is, they're young. This Kush attract younger people. Go see hard for see again in my experience in America. Yeah, you hard for see big person over maybe 40 they smoke Kush. It is more like another young teenager, them 20-year-old picking, and then can smoke this Kush. So the advantage we then get is them brain young, them brain still they grow. And if we can put the image, I could show an image of the waiting. I want to make the public see of the tangled wires. Them make I explain that a little bit. So what would they see here now on our left hand and my right hand? Now tangled electric wire. And I see the socket and the plug and all things. So just to help we get some idea of this problem, when we born, we brain gets nerves. Okay, we brain gets neurons. Neurons are the cells that we make up the brain. Okay, so when we born, the neurons them not straight, then kind like a tangle, they know them plenty, then boku. But as we they grow older, say we they be in the early 20s, naturally the body itself they broke down the wire, yeah. Again, and they try for make them basic, okay? The body they try for straighten them, they try for make the wire yeah straight. So naturally the body they try for correct the person in nerves then in brain, because the brain they develop. Tell you all about 25. Tell you 25, your brain still they develop. Now make where you want learn something, they can say learn and when you're young. Because when you don't pass certain age, especially 25, it hard for make you learn anything. You they learn, but it's more difficult. So this is the kind of what you would see inside our brain. Now I get call now, yeah, for I know if I go see am. This not the human brain, for that we don't know. Okay, so like how we all do, so we got yeah, teeth and mouth. If you open this brain, you cut her, this head you cut her, now this you dey see, now the brain this. Okay, this brain gets different parts them. Okay, so as we dey use drugs, as we dey use different drugs them, I dey broke this part into two, I dey open am, make una see. Now this part here, now they the drugs then they affect na the brain. Okay, this na the when mortal man they make, what they now mama in belly till we dey born, na yeah, we dey start to they grow, the brain they grow. Animal them, reptile them, they not get this higher parts. Now yeah, they don't stop. Okay, so now yeah, God give we the for make we be human beings, mortal man. Okay, so now yeah, this part they call it the midbrain. Now yeah, they get the problem, and I will come to that a little later. So yeah, so so that is the problem. It is a structural. It become a structural problem. It become a problem with the neurons. Them when they're not cut fine, it become a structural problem. And waiting make the young people they more get problem with drugs and Kush, because like how I say, them brain they not form better yet. So if you begin take this Kush where your brain not form better yet, waiting will happen. Your brain they use brain get
All
memory,
right.
they memory. Okay, so as you they grow older, they kind of form, they form. Okay, now I make when you young and I make you for take time because the brain weak, the brain not form yet. So if you begin take drugs, you they change the how God make here. So unfortunately now you go get the addiction. Okay. But again, like how I say, if we treat them early, we catch the person, we treat them early, drugs then we can change the psychosis, the case will not go be too much. It can mend. A lot of them can get better with Kush.
And just let me just notify the viewers then that the lines are open. If anybody want for call for asking a question of Dr. Labor, please, the lines are open.
Mr.
Now,
Shillong, can you just talk about alcoholism before we bring the lineup open? Because that's important too.
okay,
If you
all
know,
right.
make a just talk about
I
alcoholism.
don't mind. You're
Okay.
quite welcome. I will discuss in.
Yeah, again, because alcoholism, yeah, alcohol problem is a lot, and it affects every age group. Okay, so again, in America, yeah, we say person not for drink, woman not for drink past 7 for the week, man not for drink past 14 beer. We talk of 12-ounce beer or glass beer for the week. If you dey drink past now one day, you get a problem. It dey lead to chances say you will become addicted. Okay, so um alcoholism again, like I say, with the drink for feel good, for feel high, but it come a point where we begin doing per smack, it dey affect not only your mental but your body, your physical. Okay, so what the work where they do, we dey treat patients them the mental part, or we dey treat and assess and diagnose the physical parts, because then liver they get problems, then kidney they get problems, the heart can get problems. Cocaine they affect your heart, it affect your blood vessels, you can get clots. So it's just easier say, oh, drink, but you they affect your body as well, and after a while it dey take a toll on the body. Then you get other problem for deal with. And number two, when you don't drink, you sense of right and wrong, your judgment again, and they come back to this brain. The car don't show. So now, yeah, when you drink and you do drugs, now yeah, now the problem. Because what's in the happen, this chemical, like when we get diabetes, we get insulin and we belly for broke down with food, right? What we eat, now the insulin and they broke down with food for make we get nutrients for let we live. Same way, so when we drink, chemical day, where we do drugs, and where we not do nothing safe. From where we born our mama in Bel Air, where we born, we get one chemical we they call dopamine. When now they make we feel good. Now they make we continue for do the right thing. So now dopamine level they at a certain level. Now we brain. But when you take drugs, what's in the happen? Now dopamine level they go up. They increase. Now it increase. But the body, God not make the body forget na level day. God say na here the nature say na here the level for day. But when you begin to do drugs per smack, that level day they go up. From here it they go here. Okay, so now your body get for adjust to that kind level day. All right. So now make where people then they do drugs, they don't shift them dopamine, the good home, the hormone where they make we feel good. When we picking bunny, one suck in my mind, Bobby, na hormone day, God don't put and say na go make you feel good for make you go suck Bobby let satisfy. So all what you would do for let we feel good, now this chemical now we brain. Just like how we get insulin now we pancreas for broke down with food. That's how we get the dopamine for make we feel good for all what we dey do. This brain here, now they do control all what we dey do now in life. Without this brain here, we don't die. We are dead. So this now the control factor, now like the computer. Then wire show this another electric wire there. Now the cells them, if you open this brain a microscope, now so you they see. But there, as I say, when you they grow older, the brain they adjusting self, they make the neuron, then the nerve them correct, then good. And at the nerve, then they can take, then get a take, then kind of use spinal cord now, then go down on your body for control different parts of your body. So this brain now they do all waiting with they do. When you get stroke, now yes, so now yes part, now yeah they be affected. Okay, when we get stroke, something at them part here, they talk again. This part now they use speech day. Okay. So now when we use alcohol, we use cocaine, yeah, as I say, now yeah, the chemical they come. The chemical they go up. But connection then now yeah. So yeah, this not the front. Connection they nerve them yeah what they talk. The nerves them where they run all but now yeah. Connection for tell the person say, you don't drink per smack. Now dopamine don't go too high. So now for stop. Okay. But when you drink too much, now connection they lost. You they lost that connection day. They think rational no more. Your judgment they become, they clear. So person we don't use drugs for some time, this connection where they for tell you kind of yeah, now they with judgment day the front. Now yeah, with the judge, good and bad, how for behave, how not for behave, your personality, your thinking, your thoughts. Now front here now they tell we how for do all that thing and this. So now connection don't lost, they think no more. So now the problem that the way you don't drink too much, it change now connection the way God may don't make for make you learn see something wrong for tell you for stop. Okay. So now I say Now, all I make a can here today for can talk say this thing where they talk addiction or drug use, now disease, now problem. Okay. Just like how you get diabetes, you not get insulin, wait for broke down your food, make you eat. Now so where you not get this the chemical for then your body, and so it go be for you. You become addicted. When that dopamine they don't change. Now dopamine they supposed to be at a lower level. Now you don't do the drug say you don't go high. So now I make when you don't go high now, all what you do before, you're not gonna get pleasure again because what you do now level they don't shift up. So all what you mean they do to make you feel good. Now you it hunger for make you feel good anymore. Because now level the way God don't give you for let you feel good for all things, for grab go work, for go have fun, for go you know they get no more. So what go happen? Then people then they get depression. Then they get other mental problem then. Okay, you go see person they struggle so, but he still they go drink. In life not happy, but he still they go do the drink or do the drug, the kush. Because now level the way for get pleasure not day again. You don't drink too much, you don't lost the connection. Okay. Mr. Shilon, I think I digress a little bit, but I be just want to go into this whole part of the addiction, make we understand, say, now sickness, and we get for treatment sickness. I know, say, like how Mr. Shilon talk, we start alcoholism, drug use, we dey laugh them. We will be small, we get one ABC don't call, we been get, Doti Olu, then when we grew up in my time in the 70s and 80s. What we all do is we laugh them, we run after them, we provoke them, then we run because they carry it in tick. For that, we go around Brookfield, Congo Cross, Tembe Town, we don't know what they talk or speaking them.
Yep.
We all laugh them, we provoke them, we take and make fun. But now we know better. So that make us say like can't today, make and begin make we get the insights. So this mental problem and drug use, nothing way we for begin take seriously. I know say we not get the expertise, but we have to start somewhere. Now America not me get them. Back before the 1980s, where people then they use drugs, they not mean they get treatment. Before that, then they go after the cartel. Then they go Mexico, go fetch the cartel, then where they provide the drugs. Okay, but now then change their stance. Say, well, let we give the people in treatment because they realize, see, this drug use, na sickness, na illness, like a diabetes, like a hepatitis, where you live a get problem, like a pancreatitis, like a gastritis, all them different parts of your body where they sick, it show. So same way, when you get problem with brain, it show. Now your behavior, right? And now you other abilities and where the brain they control, like a headache, like a stroke, like a seizure, where you the traits. All then I call neurologic diseases. Then you get psychiatric diseases where all na problem na the brain. So do ya fumble them unless we begin treat them with respect. Nobody no one born Chris man. Nobody no one born man where they use kush and do drugs. We're not improving life. But we get for start somewhere and we get for begin for understand. Say this na problem and rather than jail them, put them in jail, sack them at work, we get for begin for get help for them. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Doc, let me also ask you, if we recognize alcoholism, drug usage, I'm being very careful here. I don't want to get into the addiction part because I want to let you tell me which is an addiction. But the drug usage, okay, there are a whole of questions. Make I take some calls,
Okay.
if you don't mind. Hello, caller. What's your name and where you call from? Hello, caller. What's your name and where you call from? Hello.
Yes, hello. Hello,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Salone. How are you? This is Nalan Sako from
Mr.
Pennsylvania.
Sako, nice hearing your voice. Are you in the country or you're in Bo or Sierra Leone? Where are you?
Oh, I am back in the United States. I'm currently in Pennsylvania. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Nice to hear your voice.
Nice to hear your voice, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
First of all, I want to say thank you. Yes, I want to say thank you for where Mr. Shilon bring a great show like this and the knowledgeable doctor where they on the show for let talk to we people, especially our youths. I listened to the doctor and he's dead on exactly this day they destroy we youths and they destroy we communities. Na Sierra Leone. When I've been there, I did it for 1 year. One of the things that we need try for target na the use of this Kush and all other kinds of illicit drugs, but especially the Kush, because I see young boys and don't lose their minds completely. I see a young boy when I've been a student, they go Christ the King's College, one of the best schools. And when they show me they pass na street, they bigger for let you get money for drugs. They don't and teach them don't come out because when you take her, they fall asleep, they fall down and other youths them. Like way the doctor say, we for all hands on deck for fet this menace. We try for doing, me in particular, I made an arrangement to meet with the paramount chief of Bo, Mr. Lapia. That make I'm not afraid that they talk and publicly. BOS na public show so that everybody go hear it. Because when you lie, now you go afraid for talk. I meet the paramount chief of Bo, went to his office. We called the AIG, meaning the assistant Assistant Inspector General of Police. I think it is. Yes.
Yeah.
We get them on and other stakeholders. I put them together for long we talk about this drug issue because waiting I see na Bo, waiting I see na Frito, waiting I see na Lonsar and Lunge alarming, a bad. The thing they spread like wildfire. They destroy, we use them completely. So I get a meeting with them. I say, listen, we need to take this tier very seriously. Otherwise, we left them 5 years from now, 6 years from now. We go begin the fet drug just like how America the fet drug, and we not get our money there. We not get the tools. We not get anything. So instead of it gets to that point, this is the time for law we fet this drug. Law we put laws them in place, wherein we go able for discourage the people them where they rent to the ones the way they sell drugs from the house. Because if people them follow me, I go na some of the houses they outside and they sell the drugs, so they call pot. I'm not afraid. I video them. I put them out there for let people and know say this host now the people and the way they sell drugs. So one of the things that I tell the paramount chief was first we find the people the way they rent to them, because law will say we give them the benefit of the doubt, we give them warning, then we find them. If not, then still encourage them people and they for they sell drug in that community day. Then we seize the property. When we sell them that money, they go to fighting drugs. Now, so then they do in the United States. I say it could discourage anybody, because if they see somebody they smoke Jamana, then compound, then go drive right away because they not losing property. One of the things, and I read the doctor, they say, Lord, we arrest them people there, put them in jail, and all them things there. All the one day we discuss those issues. But the minute they come up and the meeting, they come. Now, me own neighborhood, I see policeman, OSD, I think it is, where they wear that blue army uniform, kind of. OSD, they high on drugs, they come on one of the boats. The police officer themselves, high on drugs. I call the police station, then send one truck police. Believe me, Mr. Shylon, they spent only 10 minutes waiting and they tell me. They just tell me, say, then go, then give them money, then come out. How you go investigate case, you take the 10 minutes, you come out. With no arrest at all. So it's not a great show. Lord, we continue for bringing them show here for Alamam. I want to thank the VOS family and Mr. Salone. I want to thank we wonderful and knowledgeable doctor where they on this year. They cause plenty psychiatric problems, and not only for arrest the doctor, we also for provide counseling services, therapy for these people, psychotherapy where we go able for outside them people here go. We talk to them because prevention is better than cure. And we go able to talk to them. So sometimes that they self go serve as medicine for sink into their minds and see the kind of dangerous life where this go lead them to. So we go able to stop them from going there. We don't have none of those services through the social welfare system. So and I'm your contribution that. So I thank you very much for this.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sako, because I just see some of you videos them, particularly from Bo, on this effect of Kush and then drug houses, where now we call them crack houses, as you know, in America.
Yes,
although we not call them crack. So thank you very much. You've been doing a very good job on that too. So I'm glad you catch this show for see say we not fall on deaf ears the thing that we usually do. So we want for try for amplifier so it will get to the authorities and they will start putting structures in place for deal with the effect of this thing. So at some point, maybe before the show is over, maybe we'll get me on common sense approach as well as the little women know as to how we will help society for deal with issues such as that because it borders on what we will call public health. Because when man crazy the work on a treat, there are a lot of things where it do and that treat the way they affect the rest of the sober people and who will take things so sober. So that said, thank you so much for calling. Let me take one more call, then I will go back to the doc.
Can I just say something before we take the other call, Mr. Shilo? I just want to
Yeah,
make a correction.
feel free.
Was it Mr. Sako? Mr.
I
Sako?
think I know. I think I know what you want to say, Doc, but I may be wrong. Correct me, both of us.
Well, I just want to
You say you
correct.
said something about arrest.
Exactly. I did not say we
I,
should before I arrest them
yeah,
and lock them up.
I was going to say that, but I wanted you
Yeah,
to really address them.
yeah. Now for during the time where they're psychotic, where they act crazy. Now we get the law by the America give we the law as doctors them for physically have people them arrest them and treat them, and when they get better, we let them go. We know they keep them, we know they send them go court, and sometimes then we they make them go what they call counseling because remember say the whole idea of life don't change. They think no more. And not to make us, they help now one day. Now they are counseling or therapy. They go to psychologists for help them think about their lives and guide them with their lives. The more of the problem of the other problem is we not get social services, we not get trained counselors. When I hope say they don't begin work on by now. But again, we know they lock them up. The idea is not for lock them up. Now, and at this side way, law enforcement can inside too. Because we get for make the policeman and get training. Not to all man where they can push you for arrest and jail. You go after the one where they sell them. Somebody's bringing cocaine and drug inside Salone. Somebody they do them, or some people are doing it. They come on the sky for them. So then get for go after the supply. I mean, don't say this as what I called the last time. The supply chain they then get for put more focus on, like what America they do before the 1980s. Why? Because we not get the structure them for take care of the patient. The person where they are addicted they get a whole lot of services. Then they get money for leave, free. The only thing is it mandated for go to treatment. Then they get housing. Then they get and take care of in medical. Remember, say other parts of the body can you don't they think no more, they take care of in life. So you got other medical problems there. So then get Medicaid, then get insurance for free. But we not get all now one day. So our effort, we don't focus get for be on the supply chain. Who side then they come? What are they being in kind side? I understand say Lebanese they don't begin run with airports. I'm not pinpointing anybody, but foreigner then they run with airports. We have to begin to think critically about these things. Where are those are the drugs and they come out? Who they bring them inside the country? Those are the people where we get for begin arrest and jail. But the man where they use them, yes, he not get for go scot-free, but the focus get for be on counseling and doing some kind of rehabilitation. When I hope say they don't begin put in place now. Thank you.
Okay. In furtherance of that, what you just said, though, one of the things that, well, first of all, let me just address the issue of when you use the word arrest. The arrest, where you, in the sense where you use them. Now, for arrest, I think is synonymous with, well, let me put it this way: the arrest now for the purpose of protecting these people against themselves, so
And
they're
the
not going to
public.
hurt them. Yeah,
And the public.
so they're not, and the public, so they're not going to hurt others or they're not going to hurt themselves. And so now another arrest there. So, but address with the goal of treating them,
Exactly.
online, not the arrest where they lead to detention, and punishment. So I think the public need to know that because, in fact, the reason why that is important, what we have been doing back home, which surprises me, because we have sufficient number of qualified, I think people with basic education. Why I say education, education in the medical field, we forget some understanding because, like me, so just from your line of work and my years of experience. Because as a student, even when I was in law school, I worked as a alcoholic, um, what do you call them, technician. So I met, I dealt with them on a daily basis. So I get a general idea as to how these people are treated. But the thing I think we need for address the public about, or the officials. People are losing their jobs. Let's say, for example, we don't make a distinction yet. I mean, this affects even all the major professions. Them, would they talk about social workers? Would they talk about doctors? But would they talk about the police? But the law, the legal profession should be heavily involved here too. Because, and again, but no matter which group you bring, they have to be trained. So they're going to say that even if some of the activities border on crime, that the level of punishment, if you get to that point, should vary. That you can't treat all people who will get any connection with Kush the same way. So, for example, we know say if the person not just a user in level of involvement in terms of breaking the law, as with the show now, look for example with the show a police officer who is presumed to be affected by Kush is unable for even doing work. You can see say it gets serious mental and physical impairment. It seems like he's sleeping. But so, like you say, like Dr. Labor say, we get for deal with the source before we get to the dealing with the effect. And that is the people in way they possess them for purposes of sale or selling. They are more of the cause of the problem than say the person with the user. Because the person with the user can become easily addicted or dependent on it. And when he becomes dependent on it, it falls in a different category because your situation now calls for treatment, without which is only going to get worse. So my thing was, Doc, one of the questions I want to let you address for we, in the ordinary terms, what is addiction? Because me on layman terms, addiction a way you don't become dependent on it. You can't function in a normal way without without the use of that. So am I right or wrong, or is there a better definition than dependency? Because you cannot function without that.
Yes. So drug use, they on what we call a continuum. Continuum means they go from one area, one stage to another, to the build up. So the word addiction is, we use them loosely because it is how we describe people that are on drugs, but it get a technical meaning. And we are all addicted, if you want to call them that way, to something. Right? Like I was say, when we born, we like thing, you do thing where you like, you continue for do them. It's called the reward pathway. Now the brain they reward you. You see, nothing where good you do them. You know they do thing not good because it's just a natural way where your brain they work.
Is that
Now,
the dopamine effect?
yeah, that's part of it. Yes, that's part of it.
Okay.
Dopamine effect. Yeah. So this chemical named dopamine, there are other chemicals, but this particular one, then they give you what we call enjoyment. Then they make you feel purpose in life, right? Again, we get a level when we all they operate on as long as you're a human being. When you begin take certain drugs, them now level day after some time they go up, and they go sky high, they go way up. So what's in addiction? Addiction and where they do something, you take a drug. Oh, okay, drug addiction and where you take a drug, you don't take and so say now your body they become dependent, like how you say on it. Okay, meaning when you stop it affect your body. You they get tolerance to it. Tolerance now where you take more and more, forget the same feeling. Today you may drink 2 beer. Next week you drink 3 beer. By the time next January, they come now and 4 or 5 beer you drink for make you feel that same high, that same feeling good. So your body develop tolerance, they develop what we call dependence. The next thing now, as I say, a stage, you so don't use it now, you so don't take you over your brain, like I was saying, now middle part by your brain. You don't take over them so much so now, right? That your brain not they crave nothing again past this drug, past for stay high. Okay. So addiction now where you don't reach that stage the way you don't depend them so much so that now all your functions of your life now they become affected. You know they go work again, you just dey sleep no more, or all you dey look now for buy drugs. You know why again nothing. Eat self, you know they eat. You want buy drugs. You wife now also you know they get and chop money for cook. You picking them, you they neglect them. So when the drug don't take over your body to the point that you dey forget yourself and you're not able to function like how you been dey function before you begin take them, now in them call addiction, drug addiction. Now that's not the problem.
Thank you very much, sir. At one point, you also mentioned the quantity. Well, let me stop right here. Let me just take another call, then we will proceed. Hello, caller. What's your name? Who's are you to call from?
Yes, hello, Mr. Shylon, Mr. Lanson Asako again.
Oh, okay.
Just want to apologize for where misunderstand the wonderful and noble doctor way you get me as your host. So sorry about that, sir.
Yeah. No problem.
No, you know, get for be sorry, sir. No, I understand. And I before make a bit more clearer. So the arrest not for arrest for punish, now arrest for get you into treatment, make you know hurt yourself and hurt others. But it's okay. Thank you.
Right. Yes, just just expand on waiting I say when the arrest, yes, not true. Instead of we just criminalize the people away, they do we for provide counseling services or therapy for them, and that I don't know how we could do because these not things. Then we get plenty other things the way don't they happen with the Department of Social Welfare. We then supposed by now for be equipped with those tools for make sure says then get social workers, then get therapists on hand where they visit people them and those things are not happening. Even if it's not with drugs, even if you get for do with domestic violence, there is nobody there. We get women them where they suffer a lot from the hands of their husbands, abusive relationships. We not get them. So this one now in I know they say a past domestic violence, but this is a brain drain for the country. And if you watch now in Sierra Leone, any community where they go, the thief business done plenty. And other than they do now the one the way they take them drugs here, because once the way the doctor say it don't go inside your body, you don't use way it don't, you get for Fenway how forget that no matter what you go Fenway. Like now New York, then they broke your glass. You motorcar in glass, they say we'll get a radio. And then they broke and pull the radio, go sell them $10 for no more and get that fixed day and high. Now the same thing they right now in a Salone, wherein you they see young boys in the car with Okada, then they pre-arrange all things and come broke the mots, go thief, whether on a cell phone, whether on a chair, anything where they're able, then take and carry and go. And you go find out say the one the way they do them now for support them drug habit. So this not the only destroy the people away they take them, but they also put a burden and losses on people and property and innocent victims. So we need forget social welfare for involved in this because we government, then they spend money outside. Outside they're really supposed to spend more of Sierra Leone resources now on the people of Sierra Leone and outside that one day. Now through the social welfare department, but I not feel safe financially, then they really look at that particular institution as important as the diamond mining, where then they spend money on, or as important as transportation, or as important as anything. So the social welfare department is looked at as if not just something where if the balance left, we give them. And that social welfare, again, for do with 99% of poor people the way they in the country, where we need for provide services for. So that's not the other problem, again, where we get now the government level, where not they really support the social services, so that we people that go get help. I think that's one of the problems where the government need for correct. So thank you very much, sir. Again, I apologize for the misunderstanding.
Oh, you're quite welcome, Mr. Sako. Thank you so much for the contribution. And everything you say is correct. And this is the reason why we need to understand that when you see somebody, because we own mentality back home, we are not trained to be conscious so much of others than suffering or their unfortunate circumstance or situation. Because people then become an object of curiosity, where then they do the unusual, even when we know the effect or the cause of why then they behave that way. Like where Mr. Sako give the example of the fellow where they go CKC, where because of drug usage, now what kind of treat, it all becomes psychotic, so to speak, using the medical term, but don't go crazy. Okay, now that make I be ask the doctor, when you don't reach that stage there, is there any hope of even stopping it from you from getting worse? Because when people reach that stage, they doesn't let you what kind of treat. So common sense tell me, but the doctor might educate we along that line there, that if you don't let the man know what kind of treat, it will still look for ways for making your own drug, because with the treat Chris man and different from even the way we treat beggars. When you Chris, nobody to give you money. But that Chris man and a person like anybody else, his needs are the same. If they feel thirsty, if they feel hungry, they get desires. So you get for satisfy them desires, and whether it's crazy or not, you get sex drive, you get all of them in it. So what will happen, since even the beggar man or the bigger man will get money, but you hardly see any crazy person you call and say, hey, look money, because you try to stay away from him. So in condition will get worse. Now, one of the reasons I make a ask somebody that reach a point of no return, or is there any hope that we can reverse the trend for him to become productive or useful citizen as he once was, going to an esteemed school like CKC, Nabo, and but we'll touch on the issue of government. This is why I used to say when we talk on other topics, all this anxiety for run government, for going to government, for try for take over, for get power, it's not as easy as it looks. Government, the operation of government, the administration of government is heavy, heavy, heavy lifting. If you want to run a country, you get the best and the brightest. Now you team. You get for be willing for reach out to people like Dr. Labor, and we get quite a few or quite a lot of Salonians abroad with expertise in many areas, where go make their own intellectual contribution and professional contribution for make things better. But listening to Dr. Labor, we not get the infrastructure. See, we're trying to solve a problem for which we don't have a solution. It's just like if rain they come, you say, oh, I want to get this person out of the rain. Now we go to map on the tick. But rain they drip too. So that will solve the problem. You can only get a person there if you want really protect them from getting wet and catching cold, from taking them to a shelter. This is not the situation we'll get now. We'll get Kush, we know the effect to society, and some of we know the source or the sources of Kush and illegal drugs such as cocaine, because we do know, because this is not high earning or income producing drugs, illicit drugs, then you get people within the power structure who connive with people who don't mean well for the country for the produce thing here. And this cocaine thing, not only the cocaine to start. We on this, no such thing. When I say we on this, the 10 school, high school. But now you get situation under this current government, under the previous government, where we've had the involvement of MI5, the involvement of the FBI, the involvement of Scotland Yard, tracking plane load of cocaine coming into Australia, with top government officials being involved. We have to call them here out if we're serious about helping the country. You know, top government officials, and they're not paying the price because they're not being arrested. They're being moved from one job to the other. And now we see the same thing that happened under this current government. This is not fair to the ordinary people. Now we don't even conclude say that the poor they afflict or affect because that them now get any other means to avoid this. So you get people who the profit on the unfortunate. Now Sierra Leone is becoming a transit for the distribution and transportation of things like cocaine and other drugs. We have to be careful about that. We can't just be so cruel and so uncaring about we young people, not only in terms of their life or their livelihood, but in terms of everything else, how it affect to image of the world. It can't just be all about getting gentry, building houses, trying to get rich quick. So if anybody take the primary purpose for which you want to go into government is to serve, not to get rich. I know say we in Sierra Leone, the primary purpose of 99% of the politicians now for get rich, not to do for the people. I know people don't want to hear this, but it's true. But if we really want to serve sincerely, honorably, faithfully, it's about time we begin to think about the neglected, the poor, the pan bodies, the people that will tap na pan body. You know, if we care for them, we will care for the rest of we. So because we tap na pan body, that alone is a threat to public health. Because the person wearing a pan body, you not get indoor, outdoor latrine, you not get any properly hygienic place where you get for doing stuff. So all of that, they affect we will not live in that condition, but for the person at the area or in the neighborhood, or would they deal with them people in terms of them buying, selling market, would they buy them, them produce? We don't know how then they keep the food we're going to market to the buy. We don't know how they just store them overnight. We say they store them. So we hurt ourselves thinking, you know, they affect you, but they affect you. So I just say that and they generally, so let people then take this drug business, both the one that with the seller, who are the main culprit here, and then the one that with the user, who to me are victims. I consider them to be victims. So I want to make we realize, say, those people, we get for do what you get for do. But now, here is the thing. How do we, if we don't recognize the problem, we all don't agree, say, there is total lack of infrastructure for deal with the problem. So that's what we should be doing. That's what we should be coming to discuss. Where I want to ask Dr. Labor, what does he propose? Provided he has said, he has said most of the things we need to know. But Dr. Labor, if I left out anything, and let me also say, the comments where they make are comments of mine alone. It's not shared by Dr. Labor or anybody when I talk about government and the responsibilities. So nothing I say on this show should be attributed to anyone else who appeared to me on the show. I just want to make that clear. So Dr. Labor, so what do you suggest, sir? Or before we go there, tell us, I want to ask a few questions because there are some vocabulary sometimes we run into. I want to make you break them down into for we. You mentioned this, I think you said 14 pints of beer a week. Now, is it the average person or women are supposed to drink?
Well,
If they drink.
no. Well, for make you get to the point where you begin to think of addiction. Remember, I said we all drink, right? People they drink.
Yeah.
I can drink one beer are fine. Tomorrow I drink two are fine. But when a man, a male, adult male, they drink over 14, 12-ounce beer or drink, you can see the picture on the left. They call it standard drink. That's how we describe drink in America. You see, the one glass of wine, one bottle beer or proof liquor. standard drink. Like I guess omole. I guess I don't know if omole is still the term, but hard.
It always will be there.
Yeah. So when you drink past 7 of that, you na woman, with the look you say you have come to the point where you become addicted. And again, remember to say the addiction has to do with you functionality as well. For a man, when you double now and day, now with the say you don't on the road forget addicted. And of course, remember say your functionality self for be affected. So yeah.
Okay. Now, along that line, this for men and women, alcoholism obviously will affect the unborn. Say, if pregnant woman drinking, it's not going to just be with her alone. If she's pregnant, what effect is that going to have on the fetus, the future child? And then for a man who drinks, and while you are in a drunken state or you are in a state of alcoholism, you pregnate someone, all of that, do they have effect on, say, the unborn child?
Well, I don't know if the man where they drink at the time of an alcoholism, if he pregnant a woman, if the child will get a problem. But I know say when the mommy will get pregnant, with the expecting baby, if he drink during the time of the baby informative months, he can get what they call fetal alcohol syndrome. So that is a special diagnosis on the baby. It affects the baby in mood, it affects in facial features, it affects in mood, it affects in behavior. When a baby they born, instead of for go na then called NICU, neonatal intensive care for treat them, for get the alcohol out of his system. And now they self getting problems then. Okay. The baby can get facial deformities, in face not go form fine, in eye there, in nose there, in mouth, then he lips them, then he go get behavior problems. Okay. So that is a problem because some baby they go be treated, but again, down the road in his life, it could be a problem too, following him in life. So it's very, very, very important for make sure say woman we pregnant not drink, and if you did drink and you know so you're pregnant, right away you get for stop, because those first few months where you conceive, where you get your baby, now the month where the baby in face and the organs then they form. So it's very critical. The day you find out so you're pregnant, you should stop drinking. Whether you know you the drink addicted or not, you just don't drink when you're pregnant. You not get for say you get for wait till you don't reach addiction stage. You don't drink when you're pregnant.
And of course, I think it would be fair to say that after delivery, if you are breastfeeding the child, it's not a wise idea to drink and be breastfeeding, not so, sir.
Well, breastfeeding is I not think you get any relation per se, but again, while the baby just born, it's still advisable the woman not for drink. I don't think
Okay.
I don't think you get any direct influence effect on the baby through breast milk though. But if you
Okay.
get maybe minimal, but again, we just don't want to drink when you just a young baby.
All right. You mentioned delusion. So in that category day of that word day, I don't know if the word DTs, if the word hallucination, if they all fall in that category there, which means you get imaginary thoughts, then to you are real. Then delusions, then so you can just address that for the effect of alcohol in particular on the brain in terms of your general sense of perception. If you can just tell with that, sir,
Yeah,
the
well,
effect.
yeah, okay. So
What definition of DTs and hallucination? And I just want to make you tell me which in that so we use them properly when we try for talk about then thing there. So
okay.
DTs, what in that stand for and
Okay.
which in at the yeah.
So before we go into DTs, I will just talk small before we get to DTs, because now again
Okay.
a process. So
Yeah.
it is important that you brought this question up because it's important. I know say from what the people in don't die in these states. Some man go party, he drink, he get good time, he drink, he go sleep, he not wake. The next day they say, do you left a sleep here? He been not drunk yesterday. He all week he dey drink. He continue to sleep. On the third day, then go, he don't die. Don't then put and say in a witch on a medicine, on a put and put in a drink. We be not get one case where somebody been a few 2 or 3 years ago when they say one young man he go to one club or na one bar, he go drink. As you understand from social media, he don't drink, then he go home, he die. Don't they mean get for close the bar up or the pub up? I don't know if you remember, Mr. Shirley, you remember?
Well, I can interject. There was an incident, not either this year or last year, where the first lady lost a brother who supposedly had been to 2, 3 social sites and had been drinking. And then he went home, eventually died. And the general perception was that the last place where he drink, now they then poison him. There was no evidence to that effect. But this is some of the misunderstanding, because like what you try for explain to Wiso, people, when you don't take or you don't overconsume alcohol, that of itself has its own effect, like the details we would talk about. So if somebody go home, they end up dying because by Sierra Leone standard, there is no question they're going to say he's been poisoned without any scientific evidence. But we need to spread this information and warn people that even with the drink, for being in control of the intake of alcohol. So that instance that we mentioned, I don't know whether an identical instance or similar instance with the first lady and brother, but she did lose a brother either early this year, and there was the last place where you go drink was shut down, was accused of having at the location they poison them. All of this without evidence, and this is another concern of mine, because as a lawyer, it's easy to make wild allegations against innocent people. And then, particularly if the allegations are being made against you or an establishment by the powerful people, there's hardly anything you can do. But we need for more persistent than that. They will try to put infrastructures in place. If we think, say, poisoning people, by food or by drinking, now a common practice, let us come up with the established system where we will be able to detect very easily, like how they go do now. Yeah, if you die of food poisoning, then go no. Then go do an autopsy or postmortem, then go tell you what the person died of, if not food poisoning or the person was poisoned at all. But back home, accusation of poisoning food is as common as going to the market and buying something. We know they attach any significance to that. We just falsely accuse people. Just like how can say somebody Chris, where in reality, now they go through them withdrawal stages there, like alcohol, where they drink them. So that is some of the reason I want to let the public understand that what we're doing is not to point fingers, but it's to say if we care about the misfortune and the unfortunate people, we need to start dealing with the matter seriously. We just can't be saying this craze, this not drunk. We need to get in place infrastructure, allocate money, like our Mr. Sarkozy, for deal with anything. Otherwise, we're just spinning with wheels. We will return, but we're not going inside because we're not dealing with the problem as we ought to, and we know better. Just pointing finger. I see where even the police officer where they showed just now, I remind them, they are being sacked from their jobs because they were found to be under the influence of Kush. But the reality is that's not fair to the man, where because of his poor performance, because he was under the influence, he's just being fired. So first of all, there should be guidelines that people should just not lose their jobs based upon the effect of substance. They should be given what we consider in the law due process, you know. And but you can't get somebody that work for 10, 15 years, use Kush, they get fired, and they get family for feed, they get in future ahead of them. So there are a lot of infrastructures we need to put in place where we lack. So it's about time then and they begin to come into focus if government is really serious about dealing uh, for raise a very healthy society for the younger people who come, because doctors just say that the young people more are into the usage of Kush, not to the more matured or older guys or people. So that being said, how do we protect the young one against themselves? All of that, that's when you become a government, that's the responsibility you assume. There are a lot of things you get for the betterment of society. You know, you can become a victim. Somebody who's under the influence of Kush, he can drive a motorcycle or a motor car, go bang you, or bang your your loved ones. So you don't want to make them misfortune and they happen. So we just want to let people look at the broader picture and the ramifications of not dealing with it. And even when we know we get the means. And again, I keep repeating, they are well informed, well qualified people, such as Dr. Labor. I'm sure he is not the only Australian in the United States or in the United Kingdom. We get ideas and experience of this kind of affliction. So I hope the government, they listen, they need to reach out to experts just like them. So I'm back to you, Doc.
Okay. So going back to the alcohol issue, the DTs. So when you drink alcohol, you get to a point when you become intoxicated, right? Now we call drunk. So the man drunk, he stagger, he confused, he moody, he drowsy, to the point where he can even get coma, he can pass out, he can die. Now, when the person stop for drink, that's another problem. So the drinking a problem. When you don't stop, now another problem. Now we call alcohol withdrawal. So which means now your body, the alcohol, they withdraw from your body, you they process them, you they take them out of your body. Now tend is critical because alcohol withdrawal self getting your set of symptoms them. It's a whole lot of symptoms them. Physical symptoms, mental symptoms. Worst case scenario, you they get what they call you they become delusional. Delusional is they think correct. You they hallucinate, you they eating when not there, you they sitting when not there, visual hallucination, they talk nonsense, and you believe say what you they talk correct. So when you begin get to that stage day, it's critical say you get help, because after that, the next stage now you they get what they call seizure. So when you get seizure now what we call fits, or what we call where you the treats. The people, especially young people, like in the treat, so then you get seizure. So that is like at the later stages after you don't stop for drink. 3-4 days after you stop for drink, you can begin get, not to everybody, but some people, them especially male, man them we don't get them before. If you don't get them before, chances are you go get them back again. So your body, they get physical symptoms, they get delusions, they get hallucinations, you can get this seizure. Now, when you get the seizure, a critical say you get medical help because you can die. Now that's then called DTs. The science word now delirium tremens. It's just not just say you seize. What you seize, your brain they shake basically in a seizure, that your brain not steady. So when you get into that point, they become very critical because if you not get help, you can die. So the reason why they bring this up, and we are glad to say you asked this question, Mr. Shilon, because again, we own society, we are not educated as much, and again, we not take on command, we take on like a now problem, make you go deal with you don't drink all night, you don't go party, you been a drink last week, now you don't drink, you go sleep. Next day, no week. Nobody no go check him. The other day, no week. No, the third day now when they say, this man don't sleep 2 days. Where then go now? You don't bad. Because what's in the happen, the alcohol they go now your brain. The same brain what they talk. The alcohol they go there, they go change your brain, they make you nerve, they not they work properly, they affect areas in your brain. And that's they cause the seizure where you treat. So when you begin to get into DTs, it's very critical. So you get help. You get for go intensive care. So you're so sick that and get for put you in intensive care because you get for watch your kidney function, your body, other organ them, and for get you out of these states. Unfortunately, plenty can die, even yourself, if you not get care on time. So now the point that they make, especially now where the holiday don't come, we all happy, Christmas, all my one drink, all my one feel good. And remember this, not to all my way drink, go sleep. For say, like that case where we just talk. I don't know if in the case of the first lady in border, but I a similar case where they say the boy go now one bar, he drink, he go home, he not wake, they say a poisoner, then go lock the bar up or something like that. Sometimes they don't lock the bar up for nothing. Something na in drink, he don't dey drink. If na possible, be don't dey drink. If na man, he gets a high chance. So even where he don't stop for drink, so where the person stop for drink, we not for just say, hey, don't stop for drink. Yes, it's good for stop for drink. But remember, now first few days after he don't stop, now for the watch him, now for the keep an eye on him. Okay, because it's very critical. It can get into then psychosis, delirium, hallucination, they get into what they call delirium tremens, DTs, and they can die. They can go into coma, then they can die.
Okay, with that, doctor, let me also ask you, going back to this Kush usage and then the effect of Kush on the body in general. If someone, just as them video who see just now of police officer sitting down there appears to be sleeping, or other people they all see, if you arrest them and go lock them up without taking them to a medical facility, do they stand is there a risk of them dying while being detained, while in detention? Because they're being locked up without any treatment. So what are the chances that their condition will get worse, not better? Because we on assumption as lay people, we assume it will slip it off. It will slip off the effect of the drug. And it will show that at some point the body will work itself out. But is it as simple as that sound, or in risk of dying or in condition of worsening is higher when it is picked up? Because you remember your comment was that we arrest them so they can be treated. But so me your concern now, what happens when they are arrested because they can be punished? Does that increase the risk of even getting worse or even to the point of dying?
Well, yes, there is a risk. Now, Kush per se not gets a high risk for kill you compared to like alcohol or methamphetamine, or cocaine where you use them per smack. So Kush na more of like a mental, behavioral, there is a risk. And another thing is, remember, see nowadays, then they mix drugs. So you mean to say na Kush you buy, sometimes there is a mixture of other things than they. You mix Kush, don't you drink? That's another problem. Because now you cognitive impairment, you thinking whack, it just a add on to the problem. So that is the reason we make the arrest person you go lock in a jail where they under drug use, where they under the influence. The best you do, you get them into treatment for make it clean up, make it get safety, right? Make it get then a safe place, because remember the man not they think right. He can kill himself, worst case scenario, or other people can kill him just because of na Kush or nothing we drink or not drink we drink. Because in behavior not correct. Nobody not get time for that. So now that make we give them, we call them put a hold on them, hold not to arrest, hold for what 2 days, 3 days, we observe them, we check them one whole body. And that is the key. We not just that we should not go take the people then where they use the Kush or the drink, go put them in jail. Because anything can happen. Nobody really watch you in a jail. You in a jail, you inside cell with maybe other people. Them. Nobody not get time for you to sleep, So it is critical, say when the person then arrest them or then put a hold on them, then carry and go to hospital, like how they do now, yeah? We the doctor then give them a good physical, we check in one whole body, we talk to them, we get counselors and for talk to them, then we give them treatment. Medicine then they. for treat them condition they have. We look inside the underlying, wetin happen, sometimes you get mental problem, then we can make it go to see psychiatrist or other or mental health practitioner. But Kush per se not dey kill like how alcohol dey kill. Again, if other thing not add to am. Okay, because now the other thing that we can add to the Kush or the other drug, like I also said, nowadays we get this thing we call fentanyl. So fentanyl now like an opioid and like a very strong what we call opioid. It kill quick. It affect your respiration. You blow. Now your brain decide where they make you blow. Remember, I said the brain they control everything. Okay, alcohol safe. It can depress na part day. So it very critical. Say where we find them people there. We carry them go na drop-in centers or na hospital. Then get observation 1 or 2 days. Then we get them sober, we then wake up, then alert, we give them exam, we do neuro exam, we do physical exam, we do psychological mental state exam, we talk to them, we get counselor for talk to them, then we let them go. Okay, now it come to the same problem. We not get the facilities then na Salone for handle this problem. So this is the shame. Now this not the problem make myself say, okay, you know what, make myself can talk. Because we are lacking so much. We are lacking so much. So the best we can do is word of mouth. Individual, talk to individual. And the first thing government get for do, as I say, now for just go aggressively go after the supply chain and find out who side and tier they come out. Now, in terms of the punishment, if the man don't do drugs, he go commit crime. He got for pay penalty. You not go just make it go scot-free. He commit a crime. But again, what will they do now? Yeah, we got to make sure say he get into a treatment. It's so good that then they even send doctor then you host. There are teams of doctors and nurses and psychologists, social workers, where they go into you host go treat you. That is a court mandate. The court say, okay, we're not going to put you in a jail for make you rot, but we will get you help. And you have to take the help. Because like how Mr. Sakobi talk, when you don't do drugs, now crime day after that. You don't lose all your senses. You can go take your granny in 2 Leon or in 20 Leon for buy Kush. You granny when not they work, when not get that. That's how bad it is. Now I make it very sad, not to laughing matter. Say we depend this talk na Salone. I don't mean they ever expect say we go talk about addiction problem na Salone because it's a problem. We not get infrastructures them. We don't have the brains. We not get the money for take care of these people. And they are a lot. November 13, when I come on this program, Ms. Savage described the situation as an epidemic. And that is that's something. And Mr. Sako just confirmed him. He was there recently. He go there, he see with Inyai. That every 1 out of every 7 or 10 young man them, they on this Kush. How productive you go be where you they drag, where you they sleep, where you perception, you know they realize also you they you don't lost sense of time, sense of distance. You now that's not what you do. And number 3 is you cannot put these people in jail. You cannot. You rather fend the suicide these drugs they come out and get them punished, get them, let them answer for them. Because in the next 20 years, well, like we so don't retire, we don't old, we're not going to work again, or something we're not there again. Are these the people wait for Caron Salone? Now then we young 20-year-olds for Caron Salone. It's a problem. I mean, they look one social media video on, I think that the same Kush, one of these videos. None of the Sierra Leoneans then were write comments. None of them were empathic. And what I do, I go into everybody's profile. I look into everybody's location. Many of them were out of Sierra Leone. Many were comments, and the comments were harsh. Them been tranga. Would they cause? Would they say na for where they call them? Oh, na for Sakam? Oh, yes, the government do well. Oh, the army man. I think it was that video of the army. People they write very harsh about them. And like you just said, Mr. Shilon, they go sack the man when you catch the do drugs. Because waiting they happen, you they making matter worse. You they making condition worse. Who say for go now? Who say for get money? So we have to have a system where they rehabilitate. Now we not get the system. I hope say the government they listen, and I hope say I understand say there is a push for get this mental health system working now in Sierra Leone. But it's sad, say we not get nowhere to go but Connaught or Kisi. Besides, say we not get a lot of trained professionals. So unfortunately, we therefore lost a lot of young people, lost them by losing their minds, because like I say, if this thing is not caught on time, chances are you go get a mental problem where you not may ever get. And we not get the facility, we not get the money for treat these people, because in America here, then they get all things, like I say, social services give them disability. Although it's not a whole lot of money, but they can live on them. Salone, we not get that one day. So it is a matter of word of mouth. What would they do so? You hear it, you call, you pick in a corner, you talk to them. Yeah, if you catch, because Uda again, they get this addiction. Uda, they go to that stage. We don't know. The brain is such a complex organ. But the one thing where we know, and which is important for member, we are just, well, not to just, we don't come out of a 10-year civil war in the 90s. And remember what I say about the brain in development. When you're young, when you're born, till you're 20, 22, 25, your brain they form. If you get into these habits, when the brain they form, it's a problem for you for the rest of your life, because it's part of you. Okay? If you take away on 40, you get on drugs, chances are it not go affect them too much. But if you take a 20-year-old or a 18-year-old, you begin take drugs. Live in America self. The chances say it go rehabilitate, say it go change is higher. What they call? The chances are, is very, very winning. So we have to think of that. It has to be, for now, we have to be vigilant with the supply chain, and that is the government, not to the me and you get for Duam. We therefore be vigilant about we own individual friends and family who they deal with. Whether say they drink, you they want them every day, they tell them. Not all man go read this program, not all man go able to read and write. We not get social structures, people are unemployed. We not get training. So for now, we just have to be all man for himself, all man, one help another one. We just get to do them individually until we hopefully in the next year or two, the government, as I understand, say they don't begin put things together for mental health. So we get from member another thing, this thing called trauma, the word trauma. Trauma na overwhelming mishap in your life when something happened there, like a war.
May I interrupt you a minute? Please hold your thoughts about the trauma side. Let me just take a call. So, hello caller, what's your name and what's you call from?
Yes, this is Janet Matamusa.
Okay.
I call from London.
Ms. Musa, welcome.
Yes, sir. Hello, Mr. Salone and Dr. Labor. I don't listen to the program, and I tell you what, I think to say something Dr. Labor say, we not get the facilities and for able to help people and way they suffer from this to really go around, addiction and all of that. But one thing I want to suggest to Dr. Labor is like, I think to see people on picking paper where we go put out there to the government to say this not so much knowledge where you get this not the prescribed solution for fix this problem, the drug problem na Sierra Leone. I feel to say it could be a massive help, not only to the people of Sierra Leone themselves, but to the government for able to handle the situation. Because we did a program about a couple of, I don't know whether it's a month ago or so, where Mr. Shilom Bindu, and we've been getting people and we use, maybe they use Kush, we talk about their experiences, about, all the things where they describe hallucination, delusion and all of that. So they know the effects of Kush on the system. But then for me, on the outside, what I'm saying is, what can we do as the people for help people in Sierra Leone where they go through this? One question where somebody asked me after that program, they say we not go into the causative factor for why people in the do drugs. So young man they write me saying a hardship, auntie, and actually make we they do drugs. We not get job, we not get no dreams, we're not going to school. Also one dollar we pay, we're taking these drugs to help us. But these drugs are not helping you, then they further damage you. So, like I said, Dr. Labor, I don't know, we will get time, we go meet or talk again at some point. But a working paper will help for government to begin look at, how to help young people where they're out of school, where not get employment, and for no say these are the reasons why they take drugs. They not get dreams, they not get no, there are no opportunities. They are just in the system, they're struggling, and they need help. So Dr. Labor, Mr. Shilon, I want to say thank you for bringing this whole program back, and I hope say this not will just be one off. It will be something with Dr. Labor where they come on and on, but they can educate to people how for avoid more than things and how government can chip in for help. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Ms. Musa. We appreciate you calling and sharing your thoughts with we. Now, in fact, before Dr. Labor say anything in that line, Dr. Labor is not here to sell himself, but I'm going to sell him. We need people like Dr. Labor. Here is a man with impeccable credentials, experience, and like I say, there may be many other Dr. Labors around in this field and many other fields that the country so badly needed that we're not looking for, or some of whom we know we're not reaching out to them. Now, one characteristic of governments in general, the expertise where Dr. Labor produce a given aya, we people and go rather get somebody else with less qualification, less experience, pay them, particularly if a foreign person, particularly if a person of another complexion, for Canada, Sierra Leone, where that person they not go get that emotional ties with the society, such as somebody like Dr. Labor could get, for kind impart or give the same, maybe even less quality knowledge that people like Dr. Labor could do. I want the little women know we get a medical school in Sierra Leone. I don't even think we train psychiatrists, because I remember not too long ago, I have a daughter who's a psychiatrist, and she was telling me about the current lone psychiatrist within the hospital in Kisi when he was trying to do his residency, or I don't forget Dr. Labor column in the British sense, where he was struggling. He didn't have anywhere to go. I think he ended up in East Africa somewhere for just doing residency in psychiatry. And I understand it's a very good psychiatrist back home. But no nation can afford just one or two or three or four psychiatrists. We're talking about the entire country. Okay? Since the white people felt the need, which to my understanding is over 100 years ago, for opening a psychiatric hospital in Sierra Leone, Kisi, where I think that the first in West Africa, and once upon a time was the only. It still remains the only, even 61 years after independence. Sometimes it makes you wonder, what is our problem? Can't we see what our society need? Not to a European Union get for tell we. I mean, I'm sure themselves sometimes they say, what is the matter with these people? You got to hold their hands and walk them across the street, even though they are adults. So, we get well-informed, well-educated people who have ties with the community, people who have emotional ties with the community, who go put passion into what they teach. We get medical school, we'll need the talent of people like Dr. Labor, then kind. We know of prominent doctors who've come and gone, none of whom have been even invited at the medical school day for even give lectures, let alone do some sabbatical over there. So we are hurting with nations because we're not capitalized on talent. For some reason, when the real people that we know and needed for go back home, the powers to be seem to be threatened by these people. And then, of course, I think say we shouldn't take undue advantage of people. Them. If we go pay an American, an Australian, well, some of us are Americans, so I need for qualify. Yeah. So if we can pay an American or foreign people them for come and give lectures who the actual people them forgive, we should be fair enough for pay them for their expertise, because their expertise worth something. They are willing to give it free, but it's not fair to be paying people in thousands of dollars, pay them way for going to Australia, for give brief lectures, and this is across the board. It happen in law, it happen in all the other professions. You know, we always think say somebody owns sugar sweeter than we own. But believe me, they are very highly, one of the trouble qualified. I'm not talking about diplomas on the wall. People who have experience in addition to those diplomas, who know what they're talking about. People who've written and given lectures. Sierra Leoneans, as well as other Africans, will get a wide range of pool to pick from. So I'm just trying to urge with government, the present, the future, please look for qualified Sierra Leoneans to come and help with situations back home. We can't always, because it's so cruel of we. I mean, we pretend like we don't know them problem may exist. Everything we want the World Bank, we want the European Union, we want the United Nations for tell we. Now this one I need for straighten out. Now this one I need for, now Parliament need a renovation. Why do they have to tell us what Parliament need a renovation when they not built since the 1950s? You know, Parliament should not be get escalator and not get more than conveniences. Do they have to tell us that? And so sometimes you ask yourself the question, what's wrong with us? But like Ms. Musa just suggests, we need a suggestion to Dr. Labor. I hope that is taken into consideration. But I don't want, under any circumstance, for our people talent to be used as if it's not worth anything, while paying for the same thing or even less to other people who are described as expats or expatriates going back home and giving lectures and on other issues. So I just want to make that comment today. So Dr. Labor, I go back to you, sir. Oh, let me take one more question. I think, I'm sorry, just please hold your thought. Hello, caller, what's your name? Where side you call from?
What's your name? Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Yes. Yes, hello. How are you, Mr. Shilon?
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. Thanks for asking.
Yes, now Mr. Sako again. I've been just hearing one of our callers when Matamusa from London call say on one program where them they call. So I mean just one try for do my best make I answer that, and then we honorable doctor Insef go probably buttress or shed some light on what I get to say. If say them the word and they ask well even they ask why people they go on drugs, or and then particularly the people basically why then they do them. And me on field, as you know, we get what we get economic factor, we get peer pressure, and then but also with all those things left to the individual, also to the families of those people, how loving, how caring, and how then they nurture them picking them. Yes, you could provide all those things, you could be rich, but yet still you picking to go on drugs. That's not true. But a more prevalent on places away poverty heavy, and then especially in Sierra Leone where we get almost the unemployment rate is so high. People are disgruntled, they don't know what to do, they don't know where to go. All waiting and they do now for go keep comping. And if you go keep comping outside people and they smoke jamba, believe me, when you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you self go begin to try for taste. Now we get what we call adaptive and maladaptive behavior. Waiting at the adaptive behavior. When you day in a situation wherein things are not right for you, things are not going well, but you decide to make a good use of it by enrolling yourself in school, doing something where go benefit you, so you go avoid the repeat of what you they feel or what you they go through at this particular time. And then you go enroll yourself in school. Law we say, for example, you get cancer. Instead of you commit suicide because you don't get cancer, you decide for go and say you they be champion for look for ways how other people themselves go able for get access to cancer medication or for let them develop cancer. That's not the adaptive behavior. Now the maladaptive behavior is this. When small thing happen to you, you go look for temporary solution or temporary medication as we call it. You begin to go na bar. You know one day drink, but you go na bar now, you buy soda today, tomorrow, you begin to add liquor panam beer, you start getting drunk every day, then you become used to it. And as if that's not go take care of all your problems the way they go on, when in fact it's just temporary. After way you don't come up by your drunkenness, the problem they still exist. And then so that is what we call maladaptive behavior. So those things, if you put them all together with the peer pressure, economic factor, and the socio-economic situation of we country, lack of job, unemployment, all those things go na factor for law we picking them jump into all these kinds of unfortunate behavior. So now that no more one for contributor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sako. Again, you stand in the category of the people, and what I think say, because you are a man who knows what you're talking about. So the country need people like you now. But you never for sell yourself. Now we, the one that within the power structure, and then for no, say this is somebody of talent, this is somebody of knowledge, this is somebody we can use, we go make a difference in our society. That common sense there seems like government they come, government they go, but we'll not seem to forget it. Or maybe it's not a matter of common sense, it's just a matter of just outright selfishness. Because people are in government for themselves, not to help the people in general. Because if they are, like I said, there's a wide and large pool of talent. Someone like you know what you're talking about. Someone like Dr. Labor. So I just urge the government for please take the necessary step. Don't always take things get out of control. And those who are going into drug trafficking, things like cocaine, because they want to get rich quick, let them know the harm within they cause the country. Let them know the harm within they cause unborn generations. May they know how far back then they push the country just after their own selfish need. At the end of the day, it will affect their own, because then Pekin will become unintended victims of some of them drugs here within the traffic, within the bringing of the country. You want to get rich, but think of your Pekin, think of your grand Pekin, think of your great grand Pekin, think of the next, what would I say, posterity. But if we not think that way, they're extreme cruelty that we patch. So, Dr. Labor, let me go back to you because we're getting close to closing time. So, please feel free, sir, to say what you were saying.
Yeah. So, I will reply, Miss Musa. Thank you for your comment. Was it Miss Musa, right? She was Miss Musa?
Yeah.
Yes. Right,
yeah.
So, a few things. When I first came at this program, November 13, Sunday, I think so. You not be one of the people who was there at the time. The very next day, which was a Monday, I make contact with my colleague them. I get one or two doctor friends that will get ties with United Nations, WHO. They are working for, they're doctors, but they work for the United Nations for make policy and for make things like that for help globally. I reached out to one or two of them, and they reached out to me, and I tried to organize at least a Zoom meeting or a conference call with the ministry. I still not able to get into touch with the minister or anybody in the ministry yet. It's been a month. So just to let you know, I've tried to reach out. The doctors, them ready for help. They give me contact with the two ladies them where they work at the United Nations Office of Drug and Crime, UNODC. I sent a text to Dr. Mr. Demby, the minister. I've been getting number. It's been about 2 weeks now. I still wait for Mickey call me back. So there is help. People then they were sympathetic. And I'm in shame. I feel embarrassed when the doctor asked me, say, he asked me, this was a white Caucasian doctor. He asked me, say, Dr. Labor, is this the city? And this was a BBC video when, unfortunately, because of copyright, we're not going to play. But if you can go look at the BBC Kush in Sierra Leone, a BBC documentary, the doctor Siam is about a 9-minute clip. And he called me, say, is this, no, he emailed me, he texted me, he emailed me, say, is this in the capital? Now I say, yes, it's Freetown. I can imagine waiting the go on I had, because my goodness, it's embarrassing for see young man them, they go through dirty. I don't know if na bomb and now one day they've been there. You know, and they looked so filthy. I mean, lack of a better word, I am sure you go they say these are acting like pigs. Because na so ugly they do. They were rummaging, waiting a rummaging a Creole. They were, you know, then they scatter for
Scrape
inside
and
of
scratch.
yeah, for fainting for go sell. And you see I'm not the video. So if this is happening in Freetown, one of the oldest cities incorporated in Africa, 1790 almost, the first country we get mental health law, the law mental health laws, 1902. The first country in sub-Saharan Africa we get a mental health institution. So way back, 120 years ago, people were mentally ill in Sierra Leone. To the point that they built separate hospital. So mental health not for be a story for we, not a news. So government after government, I am sorry to say, don't fail the mentally ill,
No
including
question.
we all. We don't laugh them. Myself now that we laugh them, we laugh the Tiolu, we run at ram, we run at we scream. But we were kids, we do what kids do. But we governments, one after the other, have failed Sierra Leone. And I understand that mental health is a problem. The stigma, of course, it's a big issue in Africa, not to Salone no more. But it is high time. And the other thing I'm coming to, this thing called trauma, when we call overwhelming experiences of, distress. We don't go through them as a nation of 10 years of civil war or even more. Okay, we don't come out of 15, 20 years ago. Let remember, say then picking and they were born 20 years ago. They are the Kush generation now.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to tell me, say for 20 years, no Sierra Leonean, no minister, no government, no, with all the help we they get. I know that we got doctor short. I know, say we are young in terms of medical training and all that. But all the help they get from other institutions, WHO, UN, you want to tell me, say we no longer get an established mental health. Salone is small, so 7 million people. So it's high time. Again, we're not to go back and begin to point fingers. Again, because we know when person creates, when person not they behave right, now which? Na juju. You know, na grandpa may not do something 30 years ago and in the now. Or na then which man them, or na more man, all them thing and they. Now we know better. We don't kind of which man country with all land book. We know better, say, okay, we're not the say, no, you know, I know they change nobody in culture. I know they change nobody in tradition and beliefs. But we also have to begin to remember that we have a medical problem. Mental health is medical health as well. The brain is part of the body. I just shown that the brain is part of the human body. It's like the kidney. It's like the liver. It's like the belly, the stomach. When your brain sick, your body they sick. And on top of that, then drugs here they use, they get added effect on parts of the body. That is why we doctors, even though we specialize per addiction, we diagnose and treat kidney problem, liver problem, other problems until a point where we feel to say, if I go see specialist. Because not only the addiction are a problem, these people's body then they broke down. We don't have the best medical what they call it system in Sierra Leone. What about not to talk of the mental? So I hope say awareness will start for begin to get into the brains of our government. I'm coming back to this trauma before I round up. So that generation now, we're traumatic. We go through traumatic experience as kids. Then they hear gunshots. Then they run from house to house. Some man knows they born. Then they see person and they cut their hand in front of their face. Then they see them they cut pot in foot in front of their face. Then they rape you, mama, or your sister right in front of you. These are things which live for you for the rest of your life. You not go ever come on your consciousness. So those them picking them day, now unfortunately they carry the brunt of the mental illness caused by the war. And this not a rocket science. We will learn book and we learn the brain no say when you put trauma, overwhelming wahala, where they call Nambara, they call them big trouble. Osborne, you Osborne, you the war, you the gunshot. When you put them, when you experience that problem, it affects your hormones in your body. And those hormones are the hormones that we they control with stress levels. So trauma and stress bring stress, and stress and trauma are bring addiction. So we ask the question, what make me go drink one beer, put them down, and not worry again? What make you go drink 3, you put them down? What make na man go bring 15, like I would don't talk, say not more than 2 beer for day? What make other person go take more than the waiting America say na the limit? We don't know. It's a lot of factors, but we know say a country or a person or a community we don't go through trauma and it don't go through difficulties in our life. Poverty, like how Mr. Sako say, we not a rocket science. Unemployment. People are living on less than 1 meal a day. You add now one day. Poor education, poor social supports. Housing not day na Pambodi people they sleep under Kuton Road. They said the other day na one Kuton Road under the market stall, people in the sleep. When you put all those psychosocial factors, they call them psychosocial factors, on top of the trauma, your chances are you could be one of them who go the problem later. And make we not forget the other big thing. This is what they call genetics. What's in genetics? Genetics na genes. Genes na thing we inside with blood. When I make a feed by my papa, you feed by your mama. When I make Salone people, them we get one feature. You go see Saloma, you see Nigeria man, you go tell the difference. Na genetics. When you go born picking, you know answer belle. na gene then I pull you na do so now you know you papa or now you born you picking. Then genes then they. We all get them for mental illness. We all get them for addiction. But some my own pass on my own. One thing me they will small we can say Rari pass Rari, all na Rari pass Rari. But this year one person pass the other because of genetic makeup. So if you get the genetic makeup, when put you na level, say thing will switch you past mark, tell you they forget yourself. Ide. So when you add genetics, you add trauma. Let me not forget, if you get mental problem, say you get depression, anxiety, you get mental illness, autism, ADHD, other if you get body illness, you sick, you get problem with your body, don't you begin take drugs? All this they add to your chances. Not to talk of the poor social system we're not in the country. So we get a long way for go. We just have to start on grassroots level, writing a paper in a team way. I feel to say na Sierra Leoneans for write papers because na then they see the things with their 2 eyes. We were there, so I am ready to help as much as I can. Like I say, I don't make contact with the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime. We're ready for give a help. If only we can get first-hand information from the ministry for tell we how far then don't go. Maybe they already have the help. Maybe, I don't know. I'm still waiting for an answer. There is help around where we can make connections and we can be able to give and start somewhere. It not go happen, it not go solve tomorrow. But at least we begin today, we begin now. Hopefully in the next year, we can have some structures in place. I understand that the government, they do something about mental health, which is good. I hope say if other government come, then we'll continue. If not this government again, well, please, Unale will not make this year so sleep. In 20 years, we will retire, we want go home back and meet people and young picking away, young man and we go up way. So please, let us not make this nation waste away. We have wasted away so many years. My goodness, the first of everything in Africa with a shame. And make we get sorry at for the people that we get drug problem. Yes, I'm not saying not easy for deal with them, but let us, if we get sorry at for now, mommy, where they work with walking stick, we got arthritis. If you get psoriasis for that mommy, when a power get stroke, we not they talk. If you get psoriasis for that belly woman, we carry in Pekin. We for member, now we get psoriasis for the people that where these drugs and alcohol and all that thing again, because not to them fault all the time. Sometimes they make them choice. Yes, we don't make choice. We all don't make choices. We all don't try something. Oh, make I try this cigarette. Make I try this drink. You don't know. So then I want try the way you try. Now you go continue to addiction and your life will change. And remember, say we not get really help for you. So now for listen, now for learn from each other, and for try for talk, and we have to look after each other. Family members wanna look after ourselves. Christmas don't they come, people they drink, people and they feel fine. Ask question. Doctors in Sierra Leone. You don't have to be an addiction specialist. You don't have to be a mental health psychiatrist. You can be any specialty. Okay? You have to ask these questions. When patients come in front of you, how is your drinking habits? And we spend time with patients in a tongue. Yeah, na 15-20 minutes you get per patient. So you can sit with your doctor half hour, una go talk, una go laugh, una go talk about God, talk about church, talk about mental health. It has to be everybody's involvement. You don't have to be a specialist. Basic questions. And try for tell them, give them counseling here and there. Because as a professional, your patient will understand and listen to you more than you go listen to him in Padina Us. And you have the skills to address, to talk about these things in a professional manner. In where in Paddy, they're not going to get skill, they don't go make you feel bad, you go feel shame. What you go do? You go take more drink for like quelling anxiety and frustration. So it is a vicious cycle we not stop. But again, it has to start somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc. I will be remiss, even though we don't come to the end. I hope I will get the permission or the of we producer, because Dr. Labor took interest in addressing this issue where he watch we once. But then, even when he take the interest, the thing will propel him, will motivate him for even come out like they do so. That because we show a video, which I will kindly ask, even though we don't run out of time, but a very short video, we'll play a video of a young lady who was being accused of killing her 3-month-old child. Okay, and that the people then chain the woman, young lady. Then they talk about how cruel she was. There was no sympathy. No one was taken into account. But you don't go blame people because ignorance is something. No one was taking into account the fact that she too may be going through, or might have been going through, some mental condition, from depression to anything else, So Dr. Labor took interest in that, and he said, well, that really was the straw that broke the camel's back. He had to just lend his own voice to the cause. So if we can play that video, there's a very short video, and I also want Mr. Sako, who is good at putting things them out there, even when he's in Sierra Leone. Maybe he go help with for find out waiting at the outcome of this woman in situation, whether she is still placed under arrest, whether she's charged with a crime, whether she has an able defense in court, and on and on and on. So please, control room, please just check the room.
Yes. Hey, madam. Hey, you need to talk to me. Sonia.
You need to talk to me.
Wait.
Take soda.
Listen.
You need to talk to Facebook.
Family, una Kush, una morning, una afternoon, una good evening. Una see this fine woman.
Run.
Una see this fine woman, yeah? Na he go kill him pikin. He go kill him pikin because of Christmas. He say one go free to Christmas don't reach. December don't dey near. Him pikin may not disturb him.
3 months plus.
3 months plus, doll baby. This woman, how it snap so heartless. You know, look like na him born the pikin. He dey na one village, Bama, that na Fala Wando. Oba Bama Konta, we cross the water. Now this woman ya day. Unasia. Na iman down the show. He don't suffer the man for nothing.
Also the picking.
For nothing, he don't suffer the man. This law na not feel say na social media talk. Una look the picking. Una look the picking. Na the picking this one. Inside the ferry, they cross her for goat and a kenima. Now see the wall, he don't wicked. He put soda inside the pap for him picking. Picking when not reach 4 months it. He said because of December down here, he want go free it on. Now you know what he go do? With the boy picking the leg go there pull without the bonus. This woman be waiting up so. Now if I don't talk for himself, but he not agree. Now see the handcuff. To social media talk because like this so some man go say na lie. Na social media. Now see how people and gather. If na lie they talk, one person go just stop me self. I cross to the cross for go town. See, I can't even show the go town. Yana the water side, yana getting my ferry crossing. You don't tell anybody. Does he? Yeah.
All right. This video will play because it's important in two sense to me. One, this struck Dr. Labor in heart we make the give with the service we will get today. Two, Mr. Sako just coincidentally called today, where I know say he's very active in bringing out their activities here. And I hope I will prevail on Mr. Sako if he see this video find out what has become of this young woman. Now, if you listen the comments, first of all, you not see the presence of any authority. Because if we talk about killing and murder or something, police will be present, not ordinary people, and for the even with people in the comments who foresee policeman in presence, they will not get that. Okay, the other thing is she's being accused of being bad, wicked. Nobody is concerned about her mental health. So maybe next time we'll go make the doctor talk to we and some other expert them. That when women and born begin, then they go through a lot of mental problem. And sometimes they might do despicable things, and sometimes women even commit suicide, kill themselves. So me not to expert in that field, but we know say that they happen. But the people that we see who surround, they don't know. But in fact, then they even give sympathy to the husband than to the woman, because nobody cares. They doesn't look at the act or the effect, if in fact what she's been accused of is true. And I think she's doing the right thing by just being quiet. But I don't know how well equipped lawyers are back home for advice client to keep silent and only talk to your lawyer. So I'm concerned about her well-being. I'm concerned about that woman's mental health. And I'm concerned even the actual evidence when they claim they get that they ain't killing Pekin. How do they know that? Has she been forced into making confession against your interest? All of this will happen because people, they make false and forced confession against them interests because of things whether they admit to, what they not do. So this is where the legal profession come into play. So that was my concern in the beginning, because I know that young woman could be suffering from some mental condition. And the interesting thing, I know a bit about the social situation back home. It sounds so unusual to me that someone who lives back of Bamakonta and Akenema district in a village will have motivation to go to Freetown. You know, say if they can Kenema. I mean, it's just like somebody who, if I even have to compare. So I cannot even imagine that woman is thinking of going to Freetown. Now she may have uttered those words. And could those have been words of hallucination when she is under that condition? I don't know. But I just want to bring that up. And I don't know if Dr. Labor wants for comment. But let me say maybe last thing. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. We appreciate the contribution. We appreciate the calls. We greatly appreciate the presence of Dr. Labor, and we hope he will come again. But Dr. Labor, I give you the last word.
Okay. So yes, fumble them. That video touched me. I mean, I was screaming Usade. I'm like, oh my goodness. I the hope say they're not gonna beat him, they're not gonna slap him. And so far, according to the video, they're not mean touch him. So now that make her listening to Mr. Shilon in program a month ago by mistake. I just go into YouTube, I see him, and they were talking about it, and I make myself call. So nothing can make thing be. This na the video way push me for say, make myself can give me your own 2 cents. I don't learn the book, I don't understand what thing they go on. This woman not supposed to be punished. And I hope society now it get help. This not sick. So when woman born, the hormones them, the same hormones that what they talk about, then chemical there now we body, where they control we body. When person born, the chemical then they shift. The one way we make it get the belly, it can't down. The one way they make, you not get the, you don't get the belly down, they go up. Shift of the chemical then they, where they control the woman cycle. So when they don't want the pikin, then shift and they can affect the mental. So it get a diagnosis. Then call them postpartum blues. Then the way don't go really bit far, then call them postpartum depression. Then call them postpartum psychosis. All these are soon a diagnosis and treatment then they. So yes, not to the first and not to the last. The woman then can born pikin, then they can turn and kill them. Then call them infanticide. Name the for them. Infant killing. So I hope the woman get help. And again, I hope we legal profession is able enough for understand. Again, we get mental health laws. Ide 1902, we get a mental health law when I show them don't update and update and update. In terms of the medical parts, the psychiatric parts, psychiatry is a very big field. You get different parts of them. You get fetal maternal, you get addiction, you get geriatric, you get forensic. So this is a place where the forensic psychiatrists get for stand up and help the patient and understand and do exam for CC if they in the right mind. Okay. So of course we not get the brains, the forensic psychiatrists then at all, but anybody can do a basic mental status exam for make a lawyer help this woman, make it at least not get good, put in a jail and throw the key, make them get help. Because a lot of time, as soon as I read it, I see the video, I talk to myself, I say, hey, yeah, this is not infanticide from waiting the body talk. And like how Mr. Shilon say, what you want to do na free one from all how you do, you're not even going to boost self in the biggest city. So it not make sense. And on top of that, the woman in forced speaking, woman they will get forced speaking back, and they can get this problem. They're not able to control themselves. The hormones, they work fine. And then get the social pressure. They don't want to take care of kids. Taking care of kids are not easy. I don't know if you get social support now in house. Sometimes it gets stigma. Sometimes a second or third wave. Sometimes the man get other wave them. Where they laugh at them, where they because not a man picking it. All that thing and they can drive person to doing things. And some they even kill themselves and kill the pikin. In this case, thank God at least in safe. So we have a lot to do. We get boku work for do in terms of mental health. But again, we not go stop for talk. We go ask questions, we go talk when necessary and make the government stand up. We get the money, we get the brains, at least if we not get the brains at Salone, like Mr. Shilon say, within a year, we can help. We can do Zoom call, we can do online chats, we can give your own ideas. United Nations Day, WHO Day, Mr. Demby, you have worked for the United Nations from the CDC, as I understand. I don't know, but I hear you work for the CDC. So I hope you are stepping up the plate to give us some help, especially with mental health. That war where we get 20 years ago, now they manifest now. It is not a magic. That war caused a lot of problems, not just the physical, the cotton and cut foot, but even the mental. And now this is OTD. Work no day, nothing no day, they're idle. And when you idle, you can do anything just pass the time. If these guys have work, they're not for the smoke kush. And when they smoke the kush, do your police, where you go arrest him, where you go see him, know what to do, ask questions. We need forensic labs for do urine test, for see what thing it take. So not to just go throw in a jail and just turn your back. Get help. And if you cannot get the help, ask for it. There are many ways you can ask for it. So now the word that. I hope we will talk again, and I hope so we'll talk again. We'll go hear some say the government don't begin to do something positive towards this problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lebo.
You're welcome.